The protagonist, a girl named Soki, found her life dramatically altered. She started as a struggling student, but after a small attempt at studying, unexpectedly transformed into this improvement in her academic performance completely changed her life. The principal, who previously ignored her, began to treat her with kindness, even bringing her dinner and thoughtfully turning on the air conditioner for her. At that moment, Soki realized the profound importance of grades. She began to study day and night, driven by a desire to see how people around her would react if she achieved the top rank in school. Soki had been an unremarkable girl since childhood. At the age of 5, during a kindergarten field trip, she was accidentally left behind by the sea and became a missing child. She was subsequently adopted by a nursing home, where she continued to be overlooked and often forgotten. She would wake up to eat alone in the cafeteria or simply drink water to quell her hunger. This solitary existence continued until high school, where, as an orphan, she began to experience school bullying. Bullies would deliberately spit gum on her or throw leftover milk at her. Her life took a turn on a day she was working part-time to earn money. Since Soki was an orphan, her personal file was incomplete, which made her a target for local thugs. They used her to create fake IDs to expel prescriptions. After completing a task for them, one of the thugs strangely remarked, "I think of you." Of course. Click the fight certificate when you shoot it. Oh, thinking about what's so great about you. Bonilla Q in a blind date. It's good to read. People who live well say things like this, while Soki might not have cared about such comments from others. Coming from a thug, it felt particularly convincing. From that moment on, Soki began to study seriously. The medicine the thug gave her also helped her achieve twice the results with half the effort. Soki excelled in her studies, eventually testing her way to the top of her class. The school bullies who once tormented her no longer dared to trouble her. Having experienced the positive impact that good grades brought to her life, Soki never wanted to revert to her old ways. She began a continuous cycle of taking medicine to aid her learning, and the amount of medicine increased over time. As Soki's success grew, she unexpectedly discovered her biological father. The narrative then shifts to her transfer to a new school in Seoul, the best girls' high school in the city. As she packed her bags, Soki remained oblivious to the news on TV, which reported the death of her biological father. The next day, Soki arrived in Seoul to report to her new school. The students and teachers there seemed constantly in a hurry. When Soki tried to greet her new head teacher, she was immediately asked about her grades. Before Soki could mention her academic achievements, the head teacher, assuming she was a mediocre student, interrupted her and implicitly agreed that she was an interference, directing her to go straight to the classroom. Unsure how to find her way, Soki asked other students for directions, but no one paid attention to her. So, she ventured towards a crowded area, where she was destined to meet the person who would become a significant part of her life. At this time, an entrance ceremony was about to take place in the hall. An elderly woman selling flowers accidentally wandered in. When a teacher noticed, he ordered a security guard to remove her. But the grandmother refused to leave. Just as the situation reached a stalemate, a voice suddenly intervened. "Hi, money, thank you." The girl was Inyai, the most popular student in the school. Not only was she at the top of her class, but she also came from a distinguished family. No one could have imagined that Soki, this new transfer student, would soon become intertwined with Inyai's life, experiencing both triumphs and challenges. At school, Inyai presented herself as a well-behaved and academically excellent daughter from a wealthy family. However, behind this facade, she was a troubled girl, battling an illness. Her father, who only cared about grades, never praised her. Inyai's birth was meticulously planned by her father, who, seeking perfection for his children, consulted a renowned fortune teller to determine the most auspicious time for her arrival. The doctor in the operating room, at exactly 7 p.m., delivered Inyai on schedule. Inyai was born with an enviable good 8 sons, and she grew up exactly as her father had orchestrated, healthy and beautiful. Complementing her parents' social standing, Inyai excelled in everything she pursued: dance, music, painting, and sports. Her mother was immensely satisfied with Inyai's achievements, yet always felt it wasn't enough. Even after collecting numerous certificates, which filled display racks, her mother still sought more. Inyai also had a sister who was exceptionally gifted, easily solving junior high school mathematics problems before even starting elementary school. Witnessing her father's constant affirmation of her sister, Inyai began to immerse herself in self-study, diligently working from morning till night. She even attended to urgent bodily needs at her seat to avoid wasting time. Within 6 months, she caught up to her sister's mathematical progress to foster competition between his 2 daughters. Their father implemented a system where the one who won more rounds would lightly tap the other's palm with a ruler. After receiving the ruler from her father, In-yi, still trailing her sister by 3 points, cried bitterly that night. She desperately wanted to surpass her sister but didn't want to cause her any distress. Her father, hearing this, remained unmoved and recounted a story about Jor X and 200X units. From then on, In-yi began to distance herself from her sister and maintain a separation from everyone else. Despite this, In-yi felt a strong desire for human connection. Consequently, after school, she transformed into someone who frequented social gatherings. This continued until the day the transfer student Soki arrived, which subtly began to change In-yi. After leaving the auditorium, Soki finally found her classroom with the help of directional signs. She was surprised to be assigned to the same class as In-yi, as all the other students eagerly wished to. The In-yi's desk mata. Unexpectedly, after looking around, multiple times In-yi chose to sit next to Soki. After class, several classmates cornered Soki in the restroom, asking her to swap seats with them. Soki didn't see the big deal. Being In-yi's deskmate wasn't that special to her, so she agreed. Just then, In-yi suddenly appeared. In-yi's unexpected presence made the other students scatter, appearing intimidated by her. She expressed her disapproval of Soki's large frame. After Soki transferred to the new school, In-yi began to approach her, instantly making Soki the focus of the school. Soki, being a newcomer, had to let In-yi approach her. However, Soki found In-yi peculiar. In-yi knew Soki's name without being introduced, which made Soki unconsciously wary. Upon returning to the classroom, Soki proactively moved from her original seat. Yet, In-yi found her, saying, "Against the sun, sweetie, you're glowing. Don't resist." At once, In-yi's expression darkened, and the surrounding students subtly agreed. In-yi didn't press the issue further, but returned to her own seat with a wry smile. Her new deskmate was delighted, as their greatest wish was to sit with In-yi. But In-yi showed no interest in speaking to them. Most of the organizers announced that they could treat guests, letting participants offer contributions. I acquired it from our establishment and made it available. After school, as Soki sorted her belongings, she received a notification about the school uniform she had purchased, arranging a meeting for that night. Following the provided information, Soki made her way to an underground parking lot exit. A car pulled up, and her uniform was handed to her. Upon opening the package, Soki discovered the school uniform was not only soiled but also contained various miscellaneous items. Despite her reluctance to wear a new uniform in such a state, she knew she had no choice but to wash and wear it. Unexpectedly, someone followed her and took pictures, then anonymously posted them on the school forum, spreading false rumors about her. The next day, as Soki arrived at school, everyone stared at her strangely. The school aggressor even intentionally poured juice on her. After class, the school aggressor dragged Soki to the rooftop, where the real harassment began. Soki was not only insulted and physically abused, but her belongings were also burned by the aggressor. The aggressors then left happily, leaving Soki lying on the ground in pain. Soki remained there from day to night. In the morning, she managed to get to the bathroom to wash her soiled school uniform. At that moment, In-yi suddenly appeared. "Certainly. Ah yes, the elder is resourceful. They always find a way to make things work, right? This skill is better than any direct approach. The one who prefers to mislead the German minister. It's fine if someone so difficult can't succeed." Choco Kappa Motogradi didn't throw Blondazan or redacted name. Once again, Soki refused In-yi's offer of help, which visibly angered In-yi. Soon after, Soki's new school held its first examinations. Soki discovered that the exam content was entirely unfamiliar, something she had never studied. The other students, however, seemed unfazed, which struck Soki as odd. The exam ended quickly, and the teacher immediately graded them, calling out the scores. Student name 1, student name 2, student name 3, student name 4, student name 5, happy student name 6, lovely student name 7. I can't open the private journal from now on. Seeing Soki's dejected expression, In-yi seemed a little pleased. The surrounding students then began to ask In-yi for the answers. In-yi cheerfully agreed and started sharing them, but her gaze kept returning to Soki, who had already left. As the top student in the school, Soki refused to give up. She wanted to know her score, only to find it was a mere 4 points. This realization of her significant disadvantage prompted Soki to ask the teacher if they would review the problems in the next class. Unexpectedly, the teacher declined, stating that the purpose of the test was simply for external tutoring centers to gauge students' levels. This disheartened Soki, who had never attended a tutoring center. Soki began searching for tutoring center advertisements. She quickly found one that specifically mentioned the physics test they had just taken. So, Soki went to the tutoring center. The high cost, however, was a shock, and Soki realized she didn't belong there, so she made an excuse to leave. As she was departing, she overheard the classroom next door explaining the day's test. Unable to resist her curiosity, Soki approached the door and took discreet photos with her mobile phone. Unexpectedly, a passing teacher discovered her. Soki turned and ran, ducking into an elevator. To avoid being caught, she pressed the third floor.